The seventh 007 novel was published in England and America in 1959. Fleming got the idea for Goldfinger during an April 1956 stay at Enton Hall, a health spa in central England, where he met a gold broker who educated him on the trade in the world's most coveted metal. 3 years after the publication of Goldfinger came the surprise success of Dr. No, and later, From Russia with Love.
When we did Dr. No, I remember we all had very limited resources. The film was, I think, $800,000-900,000.
Producers Albert R. Broccoli and Harry Saltzman set a budget of $3 million for Goldfinger. To bring Bond number 3 in on time, the producers selected a seasoned pro, Guy Hamilton.
Guy was always going to be a director of Bond sooner or later. Then Guy came in and did that one. Some people think that's the best of all the Bonds.
Hamilton had something else, a relationship with the film's star, Sean Connery.
I'd known Sean long before he made Bonds. We had a little club called the Buxton that we used to meet each other. Goldfinger was a bit of a challenge because I began to sense that Bond was becoming a Superman and using the things that worked so wonderfully well in the 2 previous films. It was then not too difficult to have a target and know what we were trying to do.
Once again at the typewriter was Dr. No and From Russia with Love screenwriter Richard Maybaum, collaborating with Oscar-winning British screenwriter Paul Dane.
I thought, oh my God, what was that? But his mouth stopped. So I thought, well, okay, I'll say my line.
I always remember Gert Frober, who was a dear sweet man. You know nothing, Mr. Bond. You know nothing.
Cubby and Harry, when they saw the first rushes, went bananas. They said, you can't understand a thing. I said, don't worry, because we're now going to dub him later.
Hamilton instructed Frobe to speak quickly, which aided actor Michael Collins, who provided the voice for Auric Goldfinger.
How do you do?
How do you do?
Guy knew exactly what he wanted and how he wanted it. He's one of those kind of people. Very, very contained director. Very, very cool. He's very much get in there and do it or else.
Hamilton definitely wanted Honor Blackman for the female lead, Pussy Galore.
There was hardly anybody else about that was as right for it as me, because at that point I was having a huge success in the Avengers and I was coming to the end of my 2-year stint. So since the character demanded a knowledge of judo, and I was a hot property at that point, it seemed dead right that I should play it.
And there was no question of chemistry between Goldfinger's 2 stars.
I mean, he is, I think without doubt, the sexiest man I've ever met. He has a natural authority, charisma. He's very virile.
Good evening, 007.
Is that to be my prison number?
Come, Mr. Bond. Let's not waste time on infant games of hide and seek. If you want to know how I found out, I made 2 telephone calls. If you want to know why I found out, you may blame your childishly spectacular exit from my house at Reculver yesterday evening, and your even more childish entry into these grounds here tonight. That Aston Martin, that's a Q car. Or rather, it was. We've dismembered it. Oh, no. We must dismember you, mustn't we? Oh. You're looking, Mr. Bond, at an industrial laser beam which emits a new and extraordinary light, not to be found in nature. Natural light, you see, being multicolored, widens and weakens as it's traveling from the source. Laser light, being of one color, never widens, never weakens. It can project a 12-foot diameter spot on the moon, and at closer range, it can even punch holes in a bar of steel. Watch, I'll show you. Porcelain, of course, is an insulator. There. What a boon to the metal business, hmm? Now we must see what sort of metal you're made of.
Now look, Goldfinger.
Be silly to waste your breath when the next one might be the last.
You don't expect me to talk, do you?
Oh, dear me, Mr. Bond, no. I expect you to die. There's nothing valuable you could tell me that I don't know already. Obviously, M got wind of one of my minor enterprises, and I don't want to be distracted by fools while I'm on the eve of a major one. Come now, no more chit-chat.
Very nice.
One.
Very friendly and interests me about the laser. Action.
Good evening, 007.
Is that to be my prison number?
Come now, Mr. Bond. Let's not waste time on infant games of hide and seek. If you want to know how I found out, I made 2 telephone calls. If you want to know why I found out, you can blame your childishly spectacular exit from my house at Reculver yesterday evening, and your even more childish entry into my grounds here tonight. That Aston Martin, that's a Q car. Or rather, it was. We've dismembered it. Oh, no. We must dismember you, mustn't we? Oh. You're looking, Mr. Bond, at an industrial laser beam which emits a new and extraordinary light, not to be found in nature. Natural light, you see, being multicolored, widens and weakens as it travels from the source. Laser light, being of one color, never widens, never weakens. It can project a 12-foot diameter spot on the moon. And at closer range, it can even punch holes in a block of steel. I'll show you. Porcelain, of course, is an insulator. There. What a boon to the metal industry. Eh? Now we must see what sort of metal you're made of.
Now look, Goldfinger.
Be silly to waste your breath when the next one might be your last.
You don't expect me to talk, do you?
Dear me, no, Mr. Bond. I expect you to die. No, there's nothing valuable you can talk to me about that I wouldn't know already. Obviously, M got wind of one of my minor projects, and I don't want to be disturbed by idiots while I'm on the eve of a major one. Come now. No more chit-chat. Yes.
Keep running, man. Still running. Just look around to your left.
Mr. Bond, I am engaged in gigantic enterprises. To let you live with even the grain of truth you have learned about me would be highly questionable. You have certain qualities I respect. You are resourceful and intelligent. Your highest recommendation is that you have twice outwitted me. As you have discovered, I am interested in gold. All my life, I have been in love with its color, its brilliance, its divine heaviness. I espouse any enterprise that will increase my stock, which is considerable. I invest, I smuggle, I steal. Mr. Bond, I think you could steal very intelligently.
I'll do my best.
I'm sure you do. Mr. Bond, I am about to offer you a proposition. I can use you. I decided I could use you as long ago as our first encounter in Miami.
It would have saved us both a little sweat if you put your proposition to me then.
No, Mr. Bond. I had to know a little more about you first. Not only your past history, but your reactions under stress, your reflexes, your cracking point.
And do you?
I think so. I think so, Mr. Bond. We just reached it then, didn't we?
Not quite. I was testing your reactions, Goldfinger. I knew you had no intention of toasting me with that beam.
You are wrong, Mr. Bond. Quite wrong. I knew the answers to my questions before I asked them. But if you hadn't supplied them, the beam would have gone the whole way. Have no doubt about that at all. Not at all.
It wouldn't. That metal bar across the runway would have halted the ray carriage just before the beam reached my point of no return. You're not the man to waste promising material, Goldfinger.
Mr. Bond, you delight me. I wonder how far you would have gone had you not noticed the safety bridge.
Goldfinger, I'll tell you. I'd have started talking as soon as you switched it on.
All right, Mr. Bond. So we both know a little more about each other than we did. Splendid. An excellent basis on which to start any proposition. And my proposition is a big one, very big. It can mean either $1 million to you or a painfully broken neck from Ojob. Ojob will be with you day and night from this moment on, Mr. Bond. Your alter ego, you might say.
It became quite simply the most famous car in the world. In fact, just as stars today now tour to promote films, the James Bond filmmakers sent the Aston Martin out to promote Goldfinger, and I was the lucky guy who got to take the car out and show it to the world. We've managed to uncover some footage of the DB5 from that era, and we wanted to share some of these rare images with you. The world first became familiar with 007's gadget-laden car during the week of the world premiere of Goldfinger in London. This footage was shot on a day when we invited all the press out to get familiar with the car. As sharp-eyed viewers should be able to tell from the differences in the interior switches, our mechanics had re-engineered the gadgets on the vehicle turning it into a promotional car outfitted especially to show at public events. The press also got to see some of Q's devices that are not featured in the film, like the radar scanner, hidden in the wing mirror, the telephone in the driver's side door, and the tray under the driver's seat for holding a hidden gun. On the day of the film's premiere at the Odeon, Leicester Square on September 17, 1964, the BBC ran this report with Kenneth Alsop showing the features of the DB5.
Wimbledon Common doesn't seem the likeliest place for car deals, but he was where he said he'd be, and with that sleek grey rocket ship. It began to seem like a very reasonable, straightforward deal. No questions asked, of course. All he'd said on the telephone was that he was going to make me an outstanding, not-to-be-repeated offer. A straight swap of my E-Type for an Aston Martin DB5. Also, he said, the DB5 had some accessories and special gear he thought would appeal to me. He gave me a demonstration of some of these extras, little embellishments that showed that the owner was a real car enthusiast with a taste for individual luxury. For example, that push-button rotating number plate to make the driver feel completely at home, whether in Britain, Switzerland, or France. Then the extending overriders, back and front. Not exactly for ramming other cars, but for nudging them over a bit when you're short of parking space. Just for a second, I was a bit less sure about those twin Browning machine guns that slid out of the blinker apertures. I didn't see an immediate, everyday use for them, except perhaps for giving the odd traffic warden a quick burst. But I must admit that I was straight away sold on those two very handy gadgets hidden in the rear fins. That funnel for pumping oil under the wheels of those rotten drivers who always stay right on your tail, and the shower of tin tacks on the other side for the really stubborn road hogs. There was another notion I took to, that tire slasher on the near side rear hub to discipline drivers who sneak into a parking space just ahead of you. And there was that steel screen that rose out of the boot to protect the rear window. Bulletproof, the dealer said amusingly. I thought the radar screen disguised as a radio was rather natty, and its scanner hidden in the wing mirror. In fact, altogether I was really taken with the car. There didn't seem any need to hum and haw, so we clinched the deal on the spot, and off he drove in my old E-Type, which now frankly seemed pretty bare and unimaginative. One thing he'd forgotten to tell me about, though, the telephone. It quite made me jump when I heard it ring. I didn't suppose for a moment the call could be for me, but whoever it was on the other end seemed to have a message intended just for me. The message was about yet another bit of equipment I'd not yet seen. That hidden drawer under the driver's seat and its contents. Something, the caller said, I'd better take care of, or they be taking care of me. I wonder what they could be talking about. I wonder if I could get my E-Type back.
Mr. Alsop is holding a custom-made Goldfinger piece of jewelry. It was also getting quite a bit of press during the release of the film. The Aston Martin traveled all over the world with me. It appeared at the Paris Motor Show in October 1964, returned to London in November for the Lord Mayor's Show. In December, the Aston Martin and I arrived in the United States aboard the SS France, making quite an entrance. I had a great time in New York, enjoying the North American premiere of Goldfinger, even though the car did get a ticket on Christmas Eve. By January, the car was back in France, touring Europe. I brought the DB5 to Château Danier, where they were filming Thunderball. It appeared at the Paris Goldfinger premiere and went on to tour all around Europe, including traveling through Germany and Switzerland with Mr. Goldfinger himself, Gert Frobe. Showing off the car was one of the greatest experiences of my life. I went to Hollywood, displaying the vehicle at Grauman's Chinese Theatre. I flew across the country to the New York Auto Show, where it was featured in this newsreel footage.
James Bond's Aston Martin found itself the top attraction. Everybody wanted to see how the awkward passenger can be shot into space. Also, the other devices by which a bad time is had by all who seek the blood of 007.
The car not only starred in 2 007 films, but also in a number of commercials. This one, for Burton Slacks, offers only a brief glimpse of the car.
The James Bond 007 Slacks, only at Burton.
Simon Eye's Car Wax, on the other hand, was eager to take advantage of the DB5's status.
Simon Eye's wax protection against road chemicals, fumes, rust, corrosion. That can do a car in before it's quite paid for. How do you get this protection? Vista Cleaner Wax. Vista cleans, shines, protects in one step. Protects edges of doors, fenders, chrome, full works. Give your car Simon Eye's wax protection with... Sorry, old girl, wrong button. With Vista One-Step Cleaner Wax from the Simon Eye's chaps.
I went with the DB5 to San Francisco, Portland, Seattle. I took 007's Aston Martin down to the famed Grand Prix race at Laguna Seca, where it appeared as the pace car, driven by Jackie Stewart with my girlfriend as the passenger. The police staged a James Bond contest in Philadelphia, and I later went to Miami, causing problems with the smoke canisters again. Everywhere I went, I was wined and dined and given the royal treatment, all because of Bond. Even a year and a half after its debut, the car was still attracting crowds. On April the 4th, 1966, we were privileged when Queen Elizabeth and the Duke of Edinburgh visited the Aston Martin Lagonda Motorworks.
The Mayor of Buckingham escorted the Queen and Duke on their brief visit to the county. The Aston Martin works were included in the Whirlwind Tour. Here are produced the ton-plus cars dear to the heart of fast motorists throughout the Western world. The only possible objection to these cars is that some of us can't afford one. Exhibit 1 here is the James Bond car, lethal front, back, or inside. Ian Heggie, 6-year-old son of the works manager, demonstrated a model of it. It was presented to the Queen for Prince Andrew. Number plates to fool spies. Smersh will be giving Windsor Castle a wide berth, and it will pay everybody there to be on their best behavior. There's a wonderful idea if you're ever chased doing more than 70.
The Mini Aston Martin became a legend in itself and has appeared on a number of British television programs over the years, including this May 1985 edition of the children's show Blue Peter.
This special version was made in 1966 for Prince Andrew when he was 6 years old, and it was made by Andy Chapman and the same team that developed the full-size car for the James Bond movie. It's all electric and it's full of lots of special features that would help any secret agent get out of a tight squeeze. For instance, there's front and rear overriders that push out from the bumpers, a sheet of armor metal plating that rises up to protect James Bond's back from his enemies, while at the front, twin machine guns emerge, ready for action. Terrific. It's been very well kept by Prince Andrew, and he must have been really sorry to grow too big for it. And I'm very sorry as well that I'm too big for it. But someone who isn't is 4.5-year-old Matthew Turner. What do you think of the car, then, Matthew? Yes. It's fabulous, isn't it? Well, let's see if we can give you a ride inside. You're all set to go, and we've even got some special music for you. So have fun.
Of course, millions of children over the years have owned toy versions of the Aston Martin, like this one, shown at the Nuremberg Toy Fair in 1967. Ultimately, there were 4 Aston Martins outfitted with gadgets that toured the world to promote 007 and the car company. All have ended up in private hands. The original Aston Martin used
it for cutting gold and has an idea of dissecting me with it.
Connery shares the media spotlight with Honor Blackman.
The mayhem in Goldfinger isn't all male. Sultry co-star Honor Blackman and Sean rehearse their judo for a bouncy scene that'll pit the girls against the boys.
This rare promotional film is shown on American television in mid-1964.
Score, boys 1, girls nothing.
the score tied at 1-1. They flip for one another. Before the scene is shot, Sean and Honor get together to run through some other action for Goldfinger, this time with the emphasis on togetherness. In the film, Honor plays the personal pilot of millionaire Auric Goldfinger. She crash lands in the lap of Agent 007. Kissing and clobbering are what have made James Bond the box office favorite around the globe. Put the two together, wrap up rehearsals, and you're ready to shoot a rocking scene like this for Goldfinger. They've forgotten what they were fighting about.
My name is Pussy Galore.
Nervous studio executives considered changing the character's name to Kitty Galore. The risque name is never printed on the US trading cards aimed at youngsters.
It's very much tongue-in-cheek, isn't it? I mean, if you're so po-faced that you have to take that.
Her Majesty's 40th anniversary, there was an enormous show put on at Earl's Court, and I had to drive it past the Queen. Well, I don't think this car had been driven for years, because in a sort of the practice run, it's kept stalling. And I thought, my God, I know what's going to happen. It's going to stall right in front of the Queen. Half the audience would expect me to get out and tinker with it and put it right.
Producers Broccoli and Saltzman make plans for an elaborate premiere in London on September the 17th. It will be a Bond bash like no other. The streets outside the Odeon jam with over 5,000 fans. In keeping with the lavish style of the film, everything is first class.
It was, I think, the most glamorous night of my life, I have to say. I mean, the crowds were so enormous that the glass went in at the cinema. I mean, they pushed the glass in. And one got a great hand as one came out and swept down the stairs. It was very, very glamorous. Harry always said that women came out of seeing a Bond film dreaming about Bond, and the men came out walking tall.
A British designer creates a special Goldfinger jewel, which Honor Blackman wears to the premiere and on a promotional tour of England. The $10,000 bauble becomes its own attraction.
And we got to the studio literally 5 minutes before I was due on. We were on directly after the news. And I had these two security men walking behind me because I had this gold finger, you know. But as the countdown started, he asked me, the interviewer said, what would you like me to ask you? And I said, I don't give a damn what you ask me, you know. I like not to know. And then he suddenly said, Miss Blackman, what is it like being half male, half female? At which I absolutely broke up. And I had on a very low-cut dress, so I leaned forward and I said, which half did you have in mind for which?
Goldfinger breaks records in its premier British engagements, and an eager audience awaits the film's release in the United States. Golden Girl Shirley Eaton tours major American cities in advance of the movie's December the 21st premiere. Sneak preview screenings draw hordes of fans in Washington, D.C., Miami, New Orleans, and Los Angeles.
We had a sneak somewhere in Westwood, and that was the first time I'd seen the picture with an audience. And what I enjoyed thoroughly was sitting in front of me was a real know-it-all. I mean, he was a big kind of truck driver, and he got his wife and he got his mother-in-law, and he'd seen the obvious Bond movies. I mean, he knew all about Bond. And all the way through, he made commentaries and then leant back because he knew the answer. And then I fooled him time and again. And that was my pleasure. I mean, he was the guy I was really working for.
The marketing department at United Artists becomes so excited they even take publicity photos of Vincent Sardi's dinner to plan the American premiere. Bond's DB5 arrives on the SS France, drawing all sorts of admirers. The evening of December the 21st, 1964, becomes the event of the season for New York society, with crowds surging around the elegant DeMille Theatre. After the screening, local celebrities wine and dine in the grand ballroom of the famous Astor Hotel.
Goldfinger proved to be the turning point in James Bond films. It packed audiences worldwide, from England to Japan and certainly in the United States.
By the time of the US premiere, Bond frenzy grips the world. Goldfinger crosses all boundaries of sex and age. Everyone wants to be among the first to see the action-packed return of 007. Goldfinger smashes records in New York and at box offices around the world, from Tokyo to Munich, from Rome to Taiwan, from Mexico City to Mobile, Alabama. Goldfinger is everywhere. Goldfinger earns back its $3 million production costs in only 2 weeks, an incredible achievement considering it's playing at only 64 theaters in 41 key American cities. No wonder it achieves status in the Guinness Book of World Records as the fastest grossing film of all time.
At the time of the release of Goldfinger, there were the obvious movie tie-ins, the book, the album.
The film also launches the James Bond merchandising boom. These British trading cards mark the first official James Bond product, along with these James Bond 007 dress shoes. The box alone is now worth $400.
Around about the time when Goldfinger was first released in 1964, we suddenly started to see a lot of
James Bond parodies appeared all over. Another Goldfinger success is the chart-topping title track by composer John Barry.
Goldfinger!
Although Shirley Bassey's soaring rendition of the song is the one audiences remember, the hit had its origins with this demo version by co-lyricist Anthony Newley.
Such a cold finger beckons you to enter his web of sin, but don't go in. Golden words he will pour in your ear, but his lies can't disguise what you feel.
The Goldfinger soundtrack, which went gold, naturally, causes a case of battling billboards with the producers of the Sherlock Holmes musical Baker Street. The success of the film fuels interest in the novel all over again. One wonders if Ian Fleming had any notion that his creation would not only endure, but increase in popularity for over 4 decades. Goldfinger is so popular that it is successfully reissued many times in combination with other Bond films. The first reissue is this 1966 double bill with Dr. No.
Miss Honey and Miss Galore have James Bond back for more. And here he comes, the one, the only 007. And he's got a date with his 2 deadliest enemies, Goldfinger and Dr. No. It's Sean Connery as James Bond, at his best, battling 2 of his worst enemies. They try to bomb him and charm him, mug him, and drug him.
Who are you?
My name is Pussy Galore.
They try to chop him and drop him, belt him and melt him.
Do you expect me to talk?
No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
Walls crumble in his path. Women tumble in his arms. Nothing stands in his way.
Shocking.
There is only one James Bond. And if you liked him back to back, you'll love him face to face with his two deadliest enemies.
Goldfinger
And Dr. No.
This is Goldfinger. Get ready, Mr. Bond. Dr. No and I are getting another shot at 007 together.
To celebrate Goldfinger's 30th anniversary, fans from around the country gather for a re-premiere at the prestigious Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. Sponsored by Creation Entertainment, the event has many alumni from the Bond films, including Goldfinger's editor and future Bond director Peter Hunt, and the man who designed many of the Aston Martin's amazing gadgets, special effects wizard John Steers. The next day, Creation Entertainment hosts a large convention which allows fans to enjoy a close-up view of the original DB5 gadget car. At London's Planet Hollywood, the cuisine is served amid a museum of original Bond props. Even Oddjob's lethal hat is here.
You know, life changed for me.
Who are you?
Bond. James Bond.